We're about to unpack a policy proposal that's not just making waves, it's causing an earthquake in the tech world. We're talking about a huge shift in U.S. immigration, and it all boils down to money, talent, and the future of work. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let me ask you something. What if your company, or any company, suddenly had to pay $100,000 every single year just to hire one skilled person from another country? What would that even look like? Who could possibly afford that? Well, this isn't just some thought experiment. It's a very real and very radical new proposal on the table.
Yeah, you heard that right. $100,000. And that's not a one-time fee. It's annual, per worker. This is the proposed new price tag for an H-1B visa, which, is the main way the U.S. brings in foreign professionals. To put that in perspective, we're talking about a jump from just a few $1,000s to, well, this.
So where did this bombshell idea come from? Well, it was announced by Donald Trump back on September 19, 2025. And you can bet it instantly became a major flashpoint. It's created these two totally opposed camps, each with a completely different take on what this is really all about.
All right, so let's just nail down the core fact here. The proposal is simple: a mandatory $100,000 annual fee for every single H-1B worker. This goes right at the heart of the main visa program for foreign professionals. But the why behind it, that's where this whole story really gets fascinating.
Okay, so let's look at the first big argument in favor of this. One analyst, Sumit Jain, puts it this way: this isn't just some random fee hike. You've got to see it as something much more precise. Not a blanket attack on immigration, but a targeted, almost surgical strike aimed at what he calls systemic abuse of the visa program.
And that phrase, surgical strike, is really key. It means there's a very specific target in mind. The idea here isn't to shut down immigration altogether. No, the goal is to cut out a very specific practice that proponents say has been corrupting the entire system for a long, long time.
So, a strike against what, exactly? What's the target? Well, according to this side of the argument, the target is a specific business model, one they claim exploits not only foreign workers, but also hurts American jobs in the process. There's a name for it: body shopping. Now here's the allegation. It's that some companies have been using the H-1B program as a loophole. They bring in tons of workers, mostly from India, pay them way below the going rate, and then build them out to clients for a huge profit. Then they just repeat the cycle, creating this revolving door of cheap labor.
So let's walk through how this alleged cycle works. Step 1. A company hires a whole bunch of H-1B workers and underpays them. Step 2. At the same time, existing employees get laid off. The end result? It pushes wages down for everyone. It displaces American workers, and proponents say it's a complete exploitation of the visa system's original intent.
And that's where the $100,000 fee comes in. The argument is that this price tag makes that body shopping business model completely unprofitable. Just wouldn't work anymore. Instead, it would force companies to only hire for genuine, super high-value roles. So, from this perspective, it's not anti-immigrant, it's anti-fraud.
But there is another side to this coin, a completely different way of looking at it. And for them, this isn't a surgical strike. It's a major blow, a direct hit on the U.S. tech industry's ability to stay competitive on the world stage.
And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about here, in just the first half of 2025, Amazon got more than 10,000 H-1B approvals. Microsoft and Meta, over 5,000 each. Now, you do the math. For companies like these, this fee isn't a small change. It's potentially billions of dollars in new costs. It would completely change the way they think about hiring.
And this really gets to the heart of the fear in Silicon Valley. Didi Das, a partner at Menlo Ventures, puts it pretty bluntly. He says if the U.S. stops being the place where the best talent wants to come, its ability to innovate and grow the economy is in serious trouble. Basically, the U.S. could lose its innovation edge.
Okay, so we've talked about the economics, the pros, the cons, but there's this other massive question mark hanging over the whole thing. Is this even legal? I mean, can the president just do this?
Well, a lot of legal experts are saying absolutely not. They argue the executive branch has, and I'm quoting here, zero legal authority to pull this off. Why? Because Congress has said that visa fees are only supposed to cover the cost of processing the paperwork. They're not supposed to be a massive tax. So yeah, it looks like a huge court battle is pretty much guaranteed if this moves forward.
So, with all this debate, what about the people who are actually at the center of it all? The talented engineers, the scientists, the researchers. Does this whole thing trigger a brain drain with talent leaving the US, or could it actually create a brain gain for other countries?
You've basically got two competing visions of the future here. On one side, proponents of the fee see a brain gain for places like India. They argue that all this amazing talent will return home and maybe even start the next Silicon Valley there. On the other side, opponents are warning of a catastrophic brain drain, where the world's best and brightest just decide the US isn't worth the hassle and go somewhere else.
And look, it's really important to remember this isn't just about big tech and coders. Sure, computer-related jobs make up the biggest slice of the pie, about 2/3. But the H-1B program is also absolutely critical for engineers, for people in education, and even for healthcare workers. This thing has ripples across the entire economy.
You know, if there's one thing both sides might actually kind of agree on, it's the intended shift. The idea is to move away from a model based on the quantity of workers and pivot hard towards the quality of workers. The goal is to make it so companies only bring in the true elite specialists, the kind of person a company would look at and say, yeah, they're worth $100,000 a year.
So where does that leave us? What's the new reality here? Well, whether you think this is a long overdue correction or a complete disaster, one thing is for sure. This proposal completely changes the game. It rewrites the rules for companies hiring talent, for countries trying to attract that talent, and for the careers of millions of skilled people all over the globe.
All right, let's boil it down to the key takeaways. First, for US tech companies, we're talking about a drastic cost increase. Second, this could spark a brain gain for India as skilled workers decide to return. Third, the hiring focus is going to shift to only the most elite, specialized people. Fourth, it's a new world where your actual skills matter way more than just getting a visa sponsorship. And finally, you can bet there are going to be huge legal and political fights over this.
When you look at the history, the H-1B system started as this low-fee, lottery-based thing. There were attempts to reform it that got blocked in court, and now we have this radical $100,000 idea. The future? It's pretty clear it involves a lot of legal drama and a whole new conversation about what premium talent really means.
And that really brings it all home, right down to the individual level. A quote that sums it up perfectly says, "The choice is stark. You have to enhance your skills. The era of the free ride is over." Basically, the game has changed. It's all about what you can do.
So that leaves us with the big hanging question. Will this policy actually reshape the global tech world for the better by stopping abuse, or is it a huge gamble that's going to backfire and trigger a massive innovation crisis in the US? Honestly, the answer to that is going to define the future of technology, talent, and the global economy for years to come.